Redditors who made a lot of money by sheer randomness. What's your story? My neighbor died with no friends or family and left everything in her will to us. Everyone always asks if we were great neighbors to her. I'd say no. We were just neighbors and treated her as we would want to be treated and did neighborly duties for her. If it snowed, we cleared her driveway without her asking. Took care of her cats if she went to the beach. Say hello if we saw her. She was a tough cookie and an alpha female. Would be the best way to put it. She hated if I played basketball in the driveway, and when we were cleaning out her garage after she died, we found 3 of my old basketballs. But she was also the type of person, if she wanted an apple pie, she would bake an apple pie and take a slice and bring the rest over to us. When we were cleaning out her garage after she died, we found 3 of my old basketballs. Okay. My wife's aunt died. She had been institutionalized her whole life and neither of us had ever even met her. We kind of forgot about it for a few months until my wife's uncle emailed her and said she was going to be getting some money. We were like, oh. Okay. That's kinda weird. But not complaining. Then my wife got a phone call from the uncle one evening. I heard a lot of ums, okays, and geez. Wows. Turned out we were getting over $300. 000. We were both grinding away making $15 an hour and barely making rent every month. And then boom. Out of nowhere. That ended up being the difference between having a house and not having a house. Being able to start a family and not being able to start a family. And having a retirement fund versus just hoping not to get evicted every month. I briefly worked with a guy who was in his late 20s. Ex-military. When he got out, a friend of his he served with told him to buy Bitcoin. He bought several thousand worth when it was nothing and forgot about it. When it first started spiking and getting attention on the news, he started looking for the drive because he thought he had some. He didn't, he had a lot of it. Sold well before the peak. Dude made millions. He had an $800 000 house, multiple high-end cars, and came to work a manual labor job because he was bored. Needless to say, he didn't stay long and all he did was show off his money and clock hours not actually working. Not money. But I was gifted a brand new $1,200 laptop for free once. Just because I posted about needing a new one on a forum. I found $3,600 in a food takeout box in the middle of a giant field. Someone is probably dead because of this, lol. Edit. No, I don't really think it's funny. I made a post that used an awkward lol to alleviate my own morbid observation. Actually very surprised to see this blow up. I used to play Minesweeper a lot. Some website showed up where you could play in little tournaments. I started with $20 and made over $1,000. Edit. I don't remember the name of the website. This was like 20 years ago. I'm sure it's long gone. I won $5. 000 playing bingo on a cruise. I have only been on one cruise. And it was the only time I have played bingo in my life. I have retired from both. Worked a job for a long time. Got hurt on the job. They, instead of helping me, terminated me. Got a lawyer. A year later got $260K for the whole fiasco. Not sure if this counts, but that's my story. Playing blackjack while drunk in Reno. I had $300 to waste at the $5 table, got lots of free watered down drinks while I was playing, so I wasn't paying attention. I have a rule. 2 piles. One of cash I can't waste and another of money I won. I was there for about 3 hours before I realized I wasn't out of betting money and the dealer had changed 4 times. Won $4K at that table. Paid for the trip and a bit left over. I haven't been to a casino since, but I doubt I'd have that kind of luck again. I started an Amazon private label business on a whim in 2015. I made about 25% of the sale in profit after product, shipping, and advertising costs. Sales doubled every month for 6 months. June $4K. July $8K. August $18K. September $40K. October $84K, November $175K, December $362K. I didn't know what to do. I quit my job in January to focus on growing the business. But my time was spent mostly trying to fend off competition, copying my listing and posting fraudulent reviews, and then lowering my price in the race to the bottom. It went well for a few years. But I never made as much as I made that first December. Lesson learned. My previous employer eliminated my position. Our whole department actually. I got a severance of 1 week year, which worked out to be 22 weeks of salary. Not only that, I got paid a bonus to stay on for the last 3 months. After that was over, I got a job with a competitor company making the exact same salary and doing mostly the same job. Started the very next Monday. I actually even like working for the new company better. I don't know how random that really was, but it sure felt like a real fortunate way to lose a job. I had a boss who was single, no kids, and making around $250K a year. He was set to retire around age 56, and the company begged him to stay on another year. So he did. During that year, the parent company suddenly offered a buyout to eliminate senior positions, offering a month for every year they were there. He had been with the company 30 years, and he walked away with an additional $600K or so. Last I heard, pre-COVID, he was traveling the world in luxury. When I was 17, about to turn 18, my mom told me to open a bank account because I was going to get around $500-600 from my dad. Opened the bank account, signed the papers she needed me to, and got a whopping $15,400 deposited into my bank at 18 years old. 2 years ago, 22 at this point, come to find out he gets a huge settlement for a car accident, I think, and get another $15K dispersed over 5 years. I had an aunt that was basically excommunicated from my family for reasons that still are unclear to me. I was super young when the falling out happened, 4 or 5. She was married to some super old guy who was oil wealthy and inherited his fortune when he passed. When I was 23 she passed, and crazily enough I was her favorite. She liked me, and in her letter left to me, I was the son she never had. I remember the way she used to play hide and seek with me, but nothing else. It makes me sad that she was kicked out of the family, and she seemed to have really though a lot of young me. She left me $4 million. I've always in the back of my mind tried to make her proud of me, cause she was the cool hide and seek aunt I never really knew. The summer after my freshman year in college, I was walking my little 20-pound dog on a street near my house. Neighbor lady was walking her 2 dogs who were a husky and some other similar sized dog. The husky attacked my dog, and in the process I got some teeth marks on my wrist. Since the neighbor's dog started it and the owner obviously couldn't control it, I wanted them to pay the vet fees for my dog, which was under $500. The guy ended up being a dick about it, and my roommate's dad was a lawyer, so about a year and a half later I ended up with about $20K. I was celebrating my 20th birthday. Decided to go to the nice casino an hour away from campus with my then boyfriend. We played bingo because that's what I could afford and it occupied some time. We lost. I called my dad. He loves casinos when he has the money to go. He told me to play 3-card poker. I had watched him play before, but I didn't know how and was on my last $20 to my name. He told me that would be enough for a hand or two and just give it a shot. The dealer would explain the rules. So I sat at the table by myself. I won. The dealer was really excited for me, but I was pretty clueless. I had a straight flush. Then I just kept winning. People would take the seat in front of me. They would lose. I'd win. Didn't matter. Got 2 more straight flushes that night and lots of other good hands. I kept betting the minimum. Wish I was putting down more. I turned $20 into $3K that night. My dad didn't believe me. My grandma decided to try a slot machine once as a joke and won $300 first try. My friend's father was gifted an oil pencil drawing in the late 70s. His family always assumed it was pretty much worthless, and I always joked that it looked like my friend had drawn it as a child. This stilly angry stick figure drawing ended up being an unsigned piece of art by Jean-Michel Basquiat. His family did some digging and eventually had it authenticated by the JMB estate before selling it at Christie's auction house for an amazing sum of money. I was absolutely blown away when I learned this. My friend and his family were far from wealthy, so to realize they had this unknown treasure just sitting out in the living room for so many years was mind-blowing. I once got a message from Reddit admin. It asked if I wanted to do some contract work in my free time. Over the course of a few months, I made like $5 for browsing subreddits and categorizing them by topic and age rating. I didn't get to pick the subreddits I wanted to view though. They'd send me a list of a few hundred subreddits, and I'd have to spend about 10-15 minutes on each sub. I'd check for certain things, fill out a Google Sheets form, and move on to the next sub. When I finished a full list, I'd email them to get a new one. It was a pretty sweet gig. I was a substitute teacher and a tutor at the time, so anytime a kid or a teacher cancelled on me, I'd do my Reddit thing. Plus, it was an easy job to do while I was homesick, or waiting for the repair guy to come to my house. Because I had no set hours, I just worked whenever I felt like it. I had a co-worker who had bought a new car, and within a week somebody crashed into him and the car was totaled. He ended up getting a little more from their insurance than he'd paid for the car, and moved on. A year later, he got a letter from the other guy's insurance company saying that they had audited their books and found that they owed him money. They sent him a check for $16,000 to pay for the damage to the car they had already totaled. It wasn't a lot, but when Bitcoin started getting crazy around $9K a couple years ago, I put a few hundred in. Watched it climb all the way to 18K. I figured people were going to sell at 20K because of reasons, my only experience in economics, currency, or commodity trading was effectively RuneScape. So I sold literally right at the AF under 20K. It was a nice 100% return in about 2 weeks, so I was happy to get out and watch it fall right back to where I bought in a few weeks later. Sometimes I wonder how things would have turned out if I bet a lot more than a few $100, but oh well. I was 10 years old. Me and my two friends found a paper bag in a shopping cart outside the local grocery. It was stuffed with money. We counted it and it was just over $600. We split it 3 ways and went home. One of my friends later crumbled under the pressure and told their moms, who told our moms. We had to return it. I only spent like $10. Turns out it belonged to one of the suppliers to the grocery who accidentally left it in his cart on the way out. Not a ton of money, but for a 10-year-old kid, man, we were proper rich for a minute. There's always one little bitch who ruins it for everyone. I was in a car accident when I was 5. About 250,000 inches medical bills. My parents' insurance company and my grandfather, who is a lawyer, went after the other dude's insurance company. We also got awarded punitive damages to the tune of $3,100 of medical bills. Because it's a court-ordered settlement in the particular state, I don't pay taxes on it. I am now 23. I have gotten a payment every year now since I was 18. The actual value when I was 18 was about $560. 000. I have paid for my college and will have the remainder of the money by the time I'm 27. I can effectively contribute nothing to my retirement and I will likely retire a millionaire. At the time it was terrible. I was near death for about 18 hours and in surgery, but now I am perfectly healthy and have only minor scarring on my face. All told, I count myself very fortunate for not only surviving but also having a nice nest egg. When Google first came out, I thought it was far and away superior to the search engines of their time. Much more efficient interface. When their IPO came out, I got some, not fast money, but I lucked in to get hired by our employee-owned business. You earn 25% of your annual salary in stock. I have 6 figures worth. I hope to afford a decent retirement. My ex-husband was a bad dude. He currently owes me over $26k in back child support. When we were together, all of the bills were in my name. He left me for another woman 3 weeks after I gave birth to our second child and defaulted on all of our bills. Both our cars got repoed and I ended up filing bankruptcy 2 years later. Last year I got a notice in the mail from the lender of one of the 2 repoed cars. Apparently there was a class action lawsuit against them for hidden fees, and since the cars were in my name, I was getting a refund of a few $1,000s. I was able to use the money to help move out of my mom's place. Normal Reddit reply of not me but my friend's dad's friend. He decided to open an ice business. Hey, everyone need ice. He bought an old warehouse in the ghetto because it was cheap. Government decided to redo the on-ramps to the bridge and needed to buy like 1/3 RD of his parking lot. Maybe say 20 parking spots worth. He didn't care. He had a staff of like 4. Never used more than that. I never heard exact numbers, but I did hear he got more for those spots than he paid for the property. I started live streaming on Twitch a few years back when I was 15. I unexpectedly blew up really quickly and amassed a following in only about 2 months of streaming. I made over $2,000, which was a lot for a 15-year-old. I loaned a friend $12k to buy inventory to sell flea and tick meds for pets online in the early 2000s. He did really well and went on to make tons of money doing it. He paid me back in like 6 months and sent me checks for $1k a month as a thank you for going on 15 years now. I made him stop recently because I don't need it. It's a pain to account for on my taxes and he's paid me like 10x back for the loan lol. I quit a job at a startup that was a mess. And I just wanted to do something relaxing, so I took some time of cleaning up an old algorithm I wrote 10 years ago. I told a friend of mine, who told some industry people about it. They contacted me and I got invited to talk about it at a conference, and then large companies started getting in touch. So far I have signed one 7-figure deal to license it. It's not random, but it feels very random. I'm making more in interest now than I ever have earned holding down a job. The world is not fair. My now husband's boss bet the table at the company Christmas party that nobody could tell him what the name of the restaurant meant in English. The silly ass did this at an Italian restaurant. I speak some French and guessed it instantly. Boss man took 7 months to pay up on a $100 bet to a teenage girl. Edit. The restaurant was called Venive, which means come go. I agreed to teach a class to a school district. A new version of Office and Internet Explorer, i.e. was new at the time. It was a voluntary class. I got paid a flat rate, then I got a per head bonus and a bonus for performance rating. The students rated me on what they learned. Made almost 10k in 3 weeks. Basically showing people keyboard shortcuts and walking them through a slideshow I made the weekend before the first class. It was originally 2 weeks. But there were so many people that signed up after that first week it got extended. The beau came back and bought the slideshow for about $750 and had someone on staff teach the class after that. I was a male escort for about 7ish years. Not a hooker. Specifically an escort. I would go with people, usually women, but sometimes men, and would pretend to be their perfect boyfriend partner in front of friends and family co-workers. It started out very much as an accident but ended up making me a ton of money. I recently retired and started focusing on going to school cause I can't do escorting my whole life. And nor did I want, because I really dislike people and it was honestly a chore. Most of my clients were 1% percenters, which is the reason I made so much money. I did pay taxes on it before anyone asks. I had $25 free slot play at the casino. I got a random message from a friend who I hadn't seen since kindergarten that offered me $65 for each pick of my braces I sent. My last employer before I retired was matching 25% of whatever I contributed to my 401k. I maxed out that bitch every year even when it got to be over 30% of my salary. Most of my workmates were contributing like 3-5% and I couldn't for the life of me convince them that 25% plus whatever appreciation was the best deal they'd ever see in their lives. I retired at age 62 and my wife retired soon after at age 55. Our advisor predicts a 99% chance that we'll be able to maintain our very comfortable current lifestyle for the rest of our lives even if my wife lives to 100. My former workmates. Probably not so much.